Hello YouTube, this is Amazing here bringing another zombie storyline video. In this episode I'm going to be tackling the backstory of the character Samuel Stuhlinger in the zombies. So, to fully understand this storyline we have to go back to his father, Ernst Stuhlinger, who was a scientist in Nazi Germany during World War II but was later co-opted by the US after the end of it. Now, it's probably likely, given the zombie storyline, that Stuhlinger, as a high-level Nazi scientist, will probably be involved in Group 935, therefore leading to him having some knowledge of 115 zombies, all that's going on. Possibly, he was one of the scientists that managed to escape one of the facilities before they were overrun. So, this, I think, is what the origins of Samuel's sort of conspiracy beliefs are, because say, like his father's working with the US on all these 115 experiments, all that kind of really advanced and secret stuff. I think that might, and maybe even some of his bedtime stories that he told to Samuel, I think that's what the background of Samuel's sort of conspiracy theories and his interest in all this kind of stuff is. So, Samuel was in Washington State when the missiles hit Earth from Griffin Station, investigating the conspiracies of the Green Run facility. That's basically what I think he was doing there. Like, he's one of those, I don't want to call them crazy people, but the kind of people who like have a caravan, drive around the place trying to find out government conspiracies and cover up all that kind of stuff. And basically he just happened to be in Washington when the missiles hit Earth. So in the post-apocalyptic world, he quickly grew hungry due to his poor diet, and soon grew desperate. This led him to eat some zombie flesh, just out of pure desperation for survival because he was so hungry. This infected him with element 115 that was being used to reanimate the zombies, which allowed Richtofen to telepathically communicate with him. Now, before he met up with the rest of the group that we know him as part of, he had a brief affiliation with the Flesh religion, but he rejected it. So he's not a full member of the Flesh religion. He was part of it because he'd eaten the flesh, so Richtofen had sort of convinced him to go into it, but he didn't like it. He didn't like where it was going. He didn't believe in it, so he quickly left. And then he just made his way through the wasteland until he arrived at the bus depot and met up with the other survivors. Now, in transit, he helped the other survivors survive, killing zombies and stuff like that. And he also helped them complete the Richtofen side of the Easter egg. Now, based on the radios that we hear in Die Rise, I tend to believe that the official canon is that the crew activated Richtofen side of the Tower of Babel, not Maxis's, just because the radios on Die Rise seem to indicate that Richtofen's Flesh religion is taking prevalence over Maxis's side. So therefore I think Treyarch is going for Richtofen succeeding in transit. That's what I think is the official canon. Could be wrong, but that's just what I think. So, because he's the only one that can hear Richtofen's instructions, he was critical to helping the characters activate the Tower of Babel. After that, they were teleported to Die Rise, and then as we can see in the opening cutscene, I think Samuel was getting a bit impatient with Richtofen. He was trying to become independent. He didn't want to follow him anymore, but Richtofen then used his control over him to send him flashbacks and threatened to expose his past to the other survivors. Samuel then feared that they would shoot him because, he's infected with 115. He's been following orders from people they can't hear. They'd probably shoot him dead as a zombie or a traitor, something like that. So because of this fear of the rest of the group, he quietly assisted in Richtofen's side again. Just remember, the rest of the group can't hear Richtofen, so Samuel sort of has to convince them that this is what they're supposed to do and not follow Maxis, even though they can't hear the actual instructions. He's trying to convince them that this is right. So in Die Rise, he quietly built this liquefier weapon, so that when the orbs were added to the Lion's Paws as part of the high maintenance Easter egg quest, whatever you want to call it, he fired this liquefier at them to sort of force them down Richtofen's side and not Maxis's, to Maxis's infuriation. But basically, he got them to activate Richtofen's side. Now, could be wrong. You know, there's obviously two sides that this could take, and until we hear the radio of the next map, we aren't really going to know what is the canon way to do it, but I'm just going to assume that they continued on Richtofin's path. And basically that's how the Samuel's story is played out at the moment. You know, he's part of the group, he's hearing Richtofin's instructions, he's really fearful of the other survivors killing him if they discover his true past, and because of this he's sort of forced into Richtofin's line. Now because of this, because he's a descendant of a Group 935 member, and he's a sort of minion, I guess you could say, of Richtofen, a pawn of Richtofen, if the 4 survivors ever meet up with the original crew, I think there might be a lot of conflict there. This is just speculation for the future, because for example Takeo vowed to destroy every member of Group 935, presumably that also means their descendants, and Samantha really hates Richtofen and all his minions, so if they ever meet up there could be a lot of hate against Richtofen, just saying. So this has been Omniagent, thank you for watching, and goodbye.